My name is Emily. My husband, Jake, is 2 years older than me, a calm, thoughtful man who lives and breathes science. He's been working at a research institute for several years now, finally doing what he's always dreamed of since childhood. His work keeps him busy, but he finds fulfillment in it, and that quiet satisfaction often reflects in his smile. Our son, Mike, just turned 3, and he already shows signs of inheriting his father's curiosity. He loves taking things apart, observing, experimenting, his current obsession being the little goldfish he won at the fall festival. He spends hours staring into the bowl, whispering questions only a 3-year-old scientist could dream up. And then there's Sarah, our 1-year-old, a bundle of joy with soft, chubby cheeks and a grin that could melt any heart. She eats anything you put in front of her, smearing most of it across her bib, giggling proudly like she's made art. Our little home often feels small and chaotic, but it's filled with the kind of love that makes exhaustion worthwhile. Life, for the most part, is good, but there's one constant storm cloud over our otherwise ordinary family life: dinner. It started subtly, like a breeze turning into a storm, just as I was rocking Sarah on my hip, trying to keep her from crying while sautéing vegetables. The doorbell rang. I didn't even have to check who it was. "Mom's here again," I murmured to myself. My mother-in-law. She visited at almost the same time every evening, just before dinner. By now, even Mike barely looked up from the TV when she arrived. She walked in briskly, clutching her reusable grocery bag like it was a royal scepter. "My goodness, fried food again?" she exclaimed, peering into my pan as if I were committing a crime. "You'll ruin Jake's stomach eating like that, and the children's too." Mike, of course, loved my fried chicken more than anything. He started bouncing in his seat, chanting, fried chicken," while she sighed dramatically. Within minutes, she took charge of the kitchen, unpacking containers of her famous creamy vegetable stew and Mignon noodles, enough to last 3 days. I tried not to grimace as the sweet, overly milky scent filled the air. "Pack these up properly, Emily," she instructed. "No wasting food." I did as told, though my spirit sank a little. This wasn't the first time she had barged in, replaced my meal, and left without a word of appreciation or affection toward her grandkids. The last time, she had swapped my clam chowder for her fried chicken, then left after lecturing me on traditional home-cooked values. After she left that night, Mike tugged at my apron. "Grandma took my fried chicken again," he said softly, his little voice full of disappointment. My chest tightened. "It's okay, sweetheart. Mommy saved a piece just for you." He smiled, and I quickly reheated what little I had hidden away. Watching him eat with such happiness made me feel a little better, but inside, frustration simmered. Over the months, her visits grew bolder. Every week, like clockwork, she'd drop by unannounced right before dinner, criticize my cooking, and replace it with her stew. Then, as if to twist the knife, she began taking our leftovers, my fried chicken, braised pork, mapo tofu, even the hamburgers Jake liked best, home with her. I loved cooking. It was the one thing that connected me to my late father, who used to run a small restaurant. He taught me everything about balance, texture, and the soul of a meal. Cooking wasn't just a chore, it was my love language. So watching someone dismiss it so casually, so repeatedly, made me feel invisible. When Jake came home late that night, the table held only a bowl of his mother's stew. He poked at it, his expression unreadable. "You don't like it either, do you?" I asked quietly. He sighed. "She means well, Emily. She's just lonely, ever since Dad passed." "That doesn't mean she can barge in and take over our kitchen," I said, my voice trembling with anger and fatigue. Jake didn't answer. He never did when it came to her. Avoiding conflict was his way of keeping the peace, but it was slowly breaking mine. Weeks passed, and then one evening she showed up with a new announcement. "This year," she declared, standing in my doorway, "we're hosting Christmas at your place." I blinked, unsure if I'd heard right. "Our place?" "Yes, everyone's coming, your father-in-law's side, my sister's family, everyone." I tried to protest. "That's a lot of people, Mom. Maybe we can." She waved her hand dismissively. "You'll manage. Just prepare a proper meal. None of that greasy stuff. And please, No store-bought food, it tastes cheap. I stood frozen. I can't handle all that by myself. I'll have to look after Sarah, and use a baby carrier, she said curtly. You young women are too soft these days. Then she left, satisfied that her orders were clear. That night, I told Jake everything. He looked at me with weary eyes. She invited both sides of the family? That's nearly 20 people. I can't do this alone, I said, my voice breaking. It's too much. Jake sighed, rubbing his temples. Okay, I'll handle cleaning and entertaining. You just focus on the cooking. I stared at him. You mean I still have to cook the entire meal? He gave a half smile. You're the best cook I know, Emily, and honestly, everyone loves your food. I wanted to scream, but instead, I muttered, fine, just this once. Christmas Day arrived like a storm. Emily, is the corn soup ready? Almost. I'm making the croutons now, I called back, my apron stained and my hands trembling from fatigue. 20 guests, a full-course meal, 2 children, and 1 very critical mother-in-law. When everyone finally sat down, I felt a fleeting moment of pride. The food looked beautiful, colorful, balanced, festive. For the first time, I thought maybe, just maybe, today would go smoothly. Then the compliments started. This squid looks amazing. This carrot salad is so refreshing. Each time someone praised a dish, my mother-in-law chimed in with false modesty. Oh, thank you. I tried to make it lighter this year. My stomach dropped. It didn't stop there. She continued accepting every compliment as if she had prepared the entire feast herself, my pork belly stew, my roasted vegetables, my cake. I looked at her in disbelief, and she mouthed across the table, go along with it. My hands tightened around my fork. All the late nights, the exhaustion, the careful preparation, claimed by someone who had done nothing but belittle me for years. No, not this time. Something inside me snapped, and I knew that the silence I'd maintained for so long was finally about to end. The dining room still glowed with golden candlelight, laughter rising and falling between bites of food. I was just beginning to relax when a small voice pierced through the adult chatter. Mom, this omelet is really tasty, Mike declared proudly, his high-pitched voice cutting across the table. It looks a little different than usual, but your omelets are always good. The entire table went silent, forks froze mid-air. I blinked, unsure whether to smile or panic. Sophia, my mother-in-law's niece, tried to smooth things over with an awkward laugh. Oh, Mike, she said gently, this is actually what your grandmother made. But Mike's little face scrunched up in confusion. Huh? No, that's not Grandma's omelet. Grandma's omelet is really sweet and kind of gritty. He made a face, sticking out his tongue in pure honesty. It doesn't taste good. This one's Mom's. It has to be Mom's. The air thickened. A few relatives stifled laughs, unsure whether to hide their amusement or sympathy. My mother-in-law's face tightened, her painted smile faltering. Emily, she said sharply, you shouldn't teach a child to lie. My pulse quickened. Excuse me? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm but shaking. Who's lying here, exactly? Mike looked up at me, his big brown eyes confused. Am I a liar, Mom? That look broke something inside me. I stood so suddenly that my chair scraped loudly against the floor. Mike is not a liar, I snapped. The one lying here is you, Grandma. Gasps rippled across the table. My mother-in-law stared at me, genuinely stunned. She had never seen me talk back to her. I made this entire Christmas feast, I said, pointing at the long table. From the corn soup to the roast to the desserts, every single thing on this table, I made with my own hands. The room erupted with whispers. My mother-in-law's face went pale, then flushed a furious red. Wait, she cried, flustered. Emily, you're imagining things. You've gone crazy. I'm not lying, I said firmly. Sophia blinked, looking at the food as if seeing it for the first time. You made all this? She asked softly. I nodded. Yes, every bit of it. My mother-in-law clutched her chest in mock outrage. You horrible girl, trying to steal my credit in front of the whole family? I should have known you'd try to humiliate me. She tried to sound noble, but the panic in her voice betrayed her. It's a secret family recipe, she suddenly blurted when a relative asked about the sauce. I can't tell you that in public. But the spell had already broken. People began to notice inconsistencies, the flavors, the balance, the technique. It didn't add up. Then Jake appeared near the doorway, drawn by the noise. His expression was unreadable as he approached the table. Emily, he said quietly, that's enough. I froze, expecting him to defend his mother again. My heart sank. But then he turned to her. Mom, Jake said, his tone sharp as glass. You're the awful one here. Emily cooked this entire meal while taking care of 2 kids all day. You walked in, took credit for everything, and tried to humiliate her in front of everyone. The entire table went silent again. My mother-in-law stared at her son in disbelief. Jake, how can you say that to your own mother? He didn't flinch, because it's true. Sophia looked uncertain, poking at the bowl of stew. You know, this is really sweet, she muttered, just like that cream stew you used to make, Aunt Olivia. Jake nodded. Exactly. Mom thinks using less salt and oil makes food healthy, but she dumps in enough sugar to fill a candy store. A few relatives exchanged knowing looks. Someone murmured, so that's why her food always tasted the same. The truth finally settled over the table like dust after a storm. Every compliment, every word of praise, none of it had ever belonged to her. My mother-in-law's hands trembled. Why are you siding with her? She pleaded. I'm your mother, Jake. Jake's jaw tightened. And I've been patient. Mom, I told myself you were just lonely since Dad passed away. I asked Emily to put up with your visits, your criticisms, your behavior. But this is harassment. You've crossed the line. She stared at him in horror as he continued, voice cold and steady. From now on, don't come near Emily or the kids again. Gasps filled the room. Even I stood frozen, hardly believing he'd said it. Jake turned to the stunned relatives. I'm sorry for the disturbance. We're leaving. He gently took Mike's hand, his voice softening. Come on, buddy. Mike looked back at his grandmother, his tiny brows furrowed. Grandma, where's your I'm sorry? When you lie, you say I'm sorry, right, Mom? My throat tightened. I wanted to hug him so badly. But my mother-in-law stayed silent, lips pressed so tight they turned white. See? Jake sighed. Even your grandson knows better. Then, with calm dignity, he said, let's go home. That Christmas dinner should have ended quietly, with everyone full and content. But what unfolded that night became the moment I finally found my voice, and, unexpectedly, my little boy became my savior. We gathered our things, packed up the untouched feast, and left that glittering dining room behind, along with the lies, the tension, and the woman who couldn't bring herself to say 2 simple words. That night, we drove straight to my parents' home. I unpacked the food, reheated the dishes, and finally watched people eat my cooking with smiles that were genuine. My parents beamed with pride. Mike licked his plate clean. Sarah giggled in her high chair. For the first time in months, I felt peaceful. Jake apologized over and over. I should have stood up for you sooner, he whispered. I'll never let her treat you like that again. And he kept his word. The following day, word spread quickly through the family. My mother-in-law's sister and daughter dropped by her place out of concern, only to find her sitting in silence before cold, bland leftovers. They quickly pieced together the truth. So that's the big Christmas feast you bragged about? Her sister laughed. I should have known you'd rope Emily into it. She's the real cook in the family. Even Sophia called me later that evening. I'm so sorry, Emily, she said. I shouldn't have believed her. Your food was incredible. That small apology felt like sunlight after a storm. We even started trading recipes, hers for roasted duck, mine for braised pork belly. Life slowly settled into warmth again. Until one evening, as I was making cornbread, the phone rang. Emily. The voice on the other end was sharp, shrill, familiar. Where are you? It's dinner time. Don't you think you should apologize for embarrassing me? I smiled. Calm this time. No thanks. What? You think you can just ignore me? I'm not ignoring you, I said softly. I'm moving on. You'll regret this. You'll be left out by the family. That's fine. The family's been reaching out to me, actually. There was a pause, then a choked gasp. What? Goodbye, mother-in-law, I said gently. Thank you for teaching me what not to become. And with that, I hung up and blocked her number, for good. 2 years later. Mom, what's for dinner today? Mike asked, bouncing into the kitchen. Hamburgers, I said with a grin. Yay, I love Mom's burgers the most in the world. Sarah toddled after him, clapping her tiny hands. Me too. Daddy loves them too. Jake appeared behind them, wrapping his arms around my shoulders. That's true. Best burgers in the universe. The kitchen was filled with laughter, the smell of sizzling meat, and the sound of home. As I watched my family waiting eagerly for dinner, I finally realized something. I hadn't just won a battle that Christmas, I had reclaimed my peace, my voice, and the joy of cooking for those who truly cherished me. And that was the happiest ending I could ever ask for.